everybody, it's me, Laura, and today I'm back again with another jewelry segment, and this is called my Seashell Wreath jewelry set. And I really love this. We're going to start right off in creating the earrings. I thought I wanted to get these out of the way because they're kind of straightforward. It's not too much, that I'm really doing different here, but I wanted to introduce you to these cutters, and the idea here is that I'm going to create a set of jewelry from one of these cutters, and I want you guys to tell me if you wish to see more videos like this. It's very important to me to get an idea as to okay, is this something they like, or is this something they're not sure? So if you want to see the other patterns done, let me know if you're interested in this sort of thing. And I plan to go through a good portion of my cutters and doing these videos, so let me know on that. Anyways, I rolled out my black clay here on a number 2 setting. Now you can do it on a number 1 or a number 2 setting on your Atlas pasta machine. I found though that the 1 was a little thick and it was harder to get the cutter out of the clay. So go with the number 2. You're not going to lose a whole lot of the little indent, if you will, when it comes from that 3D cutter. So it works out just fine. And also you notice here I'm using my spray bottle. So what I do is I make sure that the clay is attached down onto my tile surface really well. Then once that's done, I'll spray the clay, I'll spray the cutter, cut down, pull up, and it should stay. So keep that in mind. You don't want to spray the tile and then put the clay down. Otherwise you're going to be slip sliding everywhere. So I'm cutting out a number of these, and I'm going to take 3 of them. Well, and actually it turned out to be 2 in the end. You're going to take 2 of these, and once these things are all cut out, you're going to bake them at 275 degrees for about 7 to 10 minutes. Now every once in a while when I get these things baked, and after I've done cutting them out of the clay, sometimes I'll have some residual clay on the actual piece. So I'll go back in with my Exacto knife or your blade, and I actually find the Exacto knife is the best, and I just try to take off any extra little clay pieces that shouldn't be attached into it. Once that is done, I'm bringing in a fresh layer of clay here that has been rolled out on my number 4 setting on my Atlas pasta machine. And then I'm just going to cut down, take off the rough edges with my blade. I'm going to then bring in my eye pins, my liquid clay, and my super glue. And we're going to take some of those pieces I just baked, and we're going to attach them onto the back side with my eye pin buried between the 2 pieces. And that way then I'll have a nice little hanger to create our earrings. Now the way I positioned these particular pieces on the back side was I decided to go with the turtle as my centerpiece in this set. So I had one of the turtles kind of right underneath my eye pin, so he was kind of dead center, and then I just let the rest of that wreath kind of fall the way it was supposed to. And then I cut out the center, and then I'll do that to another piece and then rebake it at 275 degrees for about 7 to 10 minutes. Check your area though as to where you live, because your baking times will more than likely be different from mine, since I live in a high altitude, very dry, arid desert area. So with that all said, I'm then, once I get that baked completely, I'm going to come back in, and this time I'll bring in my paints. And today I'm going to be using my Folk Art Colorshift paints of Green Flash, my Pastel Blue, my Emerald Flash, and then I'm going to do a metallic paint of my Rose Gold, and then use a little bit of my Jet Black matte acrylic paint, because sometimes you need to have something that, okay, oopsie, I made a mistake. Yeah, you got to paint it black again. But otherwise, this time around, I did not use mud clay. I thought I'd start right with black clay, and it did save me a little bit of time just doing that alone. Once I get all of my painting done on these earrings, I'm going to bring in my water-based varnish, and I'm going to varnish up this set of earrings. And then once they are dried, I'll bring in my jewelry bindings for my earrings and complete up this set entirely. So from here, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to let you guys watch my hands talk as I complete up and create my Seashell Wreath earrings. All right, now we're going to start working on the pendant to go with these earrings. And I wanted this to change up a little bit. I thought I don't want just the standard. This is the cutter shape and we're going with it. Yeah, no. I want to change it up slightly. So what I did was I went ahead and I cut 2 more pieces. I took out those centers. And once I got that done, I thought, how can I change this up? So what I did was I brought in some of that black clay one more time, and as you could tell here, that was about a 1/2 inch for me, and then I want to say it was about 1.5 centimeters in metric. And then what I did was I took both of those balls and I created 2 long logs and then twisted them up together. Now, as I was twisting them, I'm like, I want a tight twist. So what I did was I cut off the ends and then slightly rolled that twist against the surface of your tile. Gives you a nice twist, yet it gives you that indent of the twist on the edges. I really love doing this. This is so much fun for me. And I created a little loop or little hoop, if you will. Once I had that, I brought one of my pieces in, and then I also created another, I want to say cut piece, because I had destroyed the other one before. So it's like, okay, do another. But once I did that, lift this up and then have this go, I want to say, put the ends of the loop inside one of those pieces. But before you do that, you're going to roll that around a knitting needle or some kind of, a handle, if you will, in your studio, like something that's going to be 1/4 inch or smaller, because you'll have that roll over and then place those ends like I'm doing right here, and put that hoop up through the center. Have it where the turtle, one of the turtles, is hanging down, directly down in the center of that loop, and then kind of make it touch to the back side. Once you have that, you can then bring in the other little cut piece you had and lay it down underneath that. Now that I have this laid out in front of me, I'm going to bring in my scissors and I'm going to just cut off that end on top. I'll bring in 2 more smaller balls. This is like a little bit under a 1/2 inch and the other one's about 1 centimeter. So, or I should say 1 centimeter or under a 1/2 inch, and take both of those balls and turn them into teardrops. You're going to poke up the smaller end into that big kind of area coming off there. And that way then, you know, when I was doing this, it almost looked like a little person. Now, it was not intended, if you start to see a little person here, it was not intended to be that way. It was just supposed to be whatever it was supposed to be. Does that make any sense to anybody? Because it doesn't even make sense to me. Anyway, I'm bringing in another ball there. I'm using that ball tool. I made that indent, created another smaller ball, place that in, and then I'm bringing in another eye pin. And this time I'm going to cut it a little bit short, and then I'm going to sink this thing into the clay. I decided I don't want to go ahead and back it. I don't want to go through all that. Instead, because this is so thick and it's doing pretty good the way it is, I just sunk it into the top part of that clay. I dug out my other ball that I just laid down into it, repressed with that ball tool, and this way then it kind of seals itself in there with that hook. So the eye pin is not going to slip out. Now, once this is all taken care of and I got it looking the way I want, I'm going to take 2 more eye pins and my little circle Kemper cutter, because I want to make one more little detail on the top there, but 2 more eye pins, slip them into the sides there, and then bake this entire thing at 275 degrees for about 7 to 10 minutes. At this point, the clay has all been completely baked through, and I'm going to bring my metallic paints back in, those greens, that pastel blue, and that rose gold, and I'll start painting up this entire piece. Once I have this thing completely painted up, I'll varnish it with that water-based varnish that I have, and then from there, I decided, because I had the 2 eye pins on the side, I wanted to bring in some silver jewelry chain and have it kind of just do a little beautiful little loop underneath the pendant piece itself. And so I added that in and then finished up the pendant entirely. So from here, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to let you guys watch my hands talk for the last time as I complete up my Seashell Wreath pendant. All right, so this is the end result of creating my Seashell Wreath jewelry set. Please use this for study and reference. And if you like this video, please like, bop the like button, and subscribe, and leave me a comment. I'm always wondering what you're thinking. Otherwise, I am sending out my biggest hugs to each of you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.